Hi, hello everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to another office hours for the FastStore beta. My name is Victor, and I'm a software engineer here at VTEX, and I'm currently working on the FastStore team. I'll also be your host for today's event. And so, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so our first section for today is the announcement section. And here is where we bring you the latest news from the team to keep up to date with what we've been working on, some cool events coming up, or sometimes even asking you to give us some more feedback on stuff that we are trying to introduce or anything like that, okay? So today we have only one announcement, and that's about documentation, and Karen is here to tell us a bit more about that. Karen?
Hi, Victor. Hi,
Hey.
everyone. Our announcement is that we integrated the admin release into our VTEX headless CMS. So when you're installing the headless CMS, you're also by default you're installing the admin releases. The documentation change was just adding this app to the app list in our step 2 of our tutorial, and it's just really simple. Just install the app with all other dependencies when you're following the tutorial. That's it.
Awesome, that's great. Sure, it's gonna make our users' lives a bit easier when trying to set things up. So
Yeah.
thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye, Kai. Awesome. So, and yes, VTEX Day is coming up. Nice reminder. Yeah, hackathon. Okay, great. So that's what we have for you today in terms of announcements, only this documentation update. But if you want to keep up to date with everything that we're working on, please make sure to check out faststore.dev/releases. There you'll find like our release notes, and every update that we usually bring here will come out there first. Okay, so keep an eye out there to always keep up to date with what we're doing. All right, so let's go to our next section. And this is the Ask the Community section. And as the name suggests, this section is all about you. So it's all about our developer community, and this is where we bring some questions that you asked us, that you left for us at VTEX Community. We select a few of them and bring here in the office hours to kind of spread the knowledge to more people, and to go a bit more in depth in the questions that were probably already answered there. But here we sometimes you get a peek like what actually goes into like answering these questions and why things work the way they do, some quick demos or any stuff like that. Okay, awesome. So let's go to our first question. And this one is about using FastStore pages in VTEX.io, and I have Bia and Layusom here with me to answer that.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Hey. So the question was if you can have a site using some pages in FastStore and others in IO. So actually, that's possible, and it's the way today we integrate the login, checkout, and order place it in my account pages. So we have the domain in FastStore, so the pages are in Gatsby, and we have the subdomain that it's the secure Dart store, pointing to the text commerce stable that it's actually in Janus. So that's the host that is hospedating the site in the legacy system, not in IO. But if you have an app that exposes a route, like my account or the place it, or this one that it's a B2B for making quotes. So you have a page like this. You can force the VTEX Commerce stable to handle the page in IO. So this step if you put API IO here at the URL, you will force Janus to send this request to IO. So you will actually have the page just like in IO. So if you take this out, you can see the page will be rendered in the legacy system. So this way you can have like pages in IO and FastStore at the same store actually.
So I'm product manager at FastStore, and I'm here to talk a little bit more about the relation between Store Framework and FastStore, since we felt it was relevant to this answer. So FastStore is the next generation of tools for storefronts for VTEX. And we built it from scratch with performance in mind. So it's easy to create fast stores that sell more, right? My point here is that those tools are not, they do not interact directly, and we don't support the interaction directly. So it's valid to use them as a migration strategy, as Beatriz said, but don't expect them to share content or have more interaction, because that's not our goal here. We just wanted to clarify that. We felt it was important.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. So just to make it a bit like, just to clarify things, we are not encouraging you to like have multiple rendering engines in this, like in the same store, right? Like, I don't know, maybe in a certain store you have like legacy CMS, then Store Framework, and then FastStore. So like it kind of becomes a mess, right?
I think it's valid as an intermediate state, right? When you're migrating things, because we know that sometimes it's complex to migrate a huge site, but we don't think this should be a named state or a permanent state, because it adds a lot of complexity and makes everyone's life harder to manage content, sorry, or other things.
Yeah, I think the operation of the store in the day by day can become a little bit mess, because maybe the people that are doing the operation won't know if the page is actually on FastStore and which CMS they have to use to change content or do the maintenance itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Um, okay, so thanks a lot, you both, to like for the comments and for clarifying things. Actually, I have a quick announcement that like we didn't have in the announcement before, but like, well, as most of you noticed, the event this week is in English, right? So up until now, we've been like alternating between Portuguese and then English, like on a by kind of bi-weekly, right? So like if this week is in English, next week would be in Portuguese, and then we keep going like this, right? All right. We've been like analyzing the numbers and seeing like how is viewership going, how like what do you think, like getting your feedback on how do you feel about this, like do you really prefer when it is in English, do you, or like the other way around, do you like strongly prefer for the event to be in Portuguese like every time? And after like giving it some thought, we came to the conclusion that we're almost on the brink of like changing this to English, to like English only. Because we believe like this is most aligned with what our like kind of our vision, right? Like what we're going for with FastStore. We're trying to reach as many people as we can, and for that we believe that like having an event in English is way more inclusive for everyone, and so that people around the world can catch it. Maybe even like trying to search for things. It's easier if you have content in English, right? So anyway, but we also don't want you like to feel like you're not being heard. So it's important for us that you can yes, that's it. Like it's important for us that you feel like you're also a part of like office hours, because the office hours is an event directed into the community, right? So please have a look at the pool that we have running and please answer there and like give our feedback, or like we're trying to make the event the best as we can for you. So please give us some feedback. We're like our like we are trying to migrate everything to English, but we got to make sure that like we are listening to you as well, right? So that's it. Just a quick reminder, and like an kind of an announcement. So in the next couple of weeks, there might be a point where we just switch to English, okay, or maybe not, depending on your feedback. So give us like answer the poll and give us some feedback on that. All right. Okay, thanks. And well, that's what we had for questions today. We actually had one more. But we might get back to it a little bit later on. Okay, so I think it's easier if we go straight to the demo and then maybe come back to the question. So awesome. This would usually be the final section. But we're kind of switching things out a little bit here. So today we have one demo. It's about performance, which is a big deal with FastStore, right? And we have Jimenez here to tell us about all the performance improvements that we worked on March, right? So how are you doing?
Hi, hey Miranda. Hi guys. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys. And I'm not sure if I'm showing my screen. Okay,
Not yet.
yeah, that it
Check.
is.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'm Chuck Jimenez, and I work at FastStore. I'm more focused now on FastStore performance, and I'm happy to say that our starter is green on paid speaking sites. And today I'm here to tell you guys how we achieved this and how we are dealing with performance on FastStore, some tools that we use to achieve this performance, and why you should consider upgrading to the latest version of our starter. Okay, so I'm gonna show my lots of links here, and let's go. So this is our basic starter. This is base store. This is the store that you see on our demos. This is the store that you will start from when you start using FastStore. And so here it is. The basic idea of FastStore is that you get this whole store, you fork it, you start developing your own features. And the great question is, how do you keep the performance on green? How do you keep paid speaking sites telling that you have a good performance? So the first thing that you guys need to understand is that the technology is just one step towards performance. The other big thing that you have to go with is you need to incorporate performance on your development process. And how do you incorporate performance on development process? Well, the easiest way is to use WebOps. So what is WebOps, right? So most of you guys should have already heard of WebOps. So basically, WebOps is just like any other cloud provider, like Gatsby Cloud or Verso or Netlify. But the good part of WebOps is that it incorporates these best practices in performance. So how do they do this? So basically, the idea is that for each commit, like for instance, like I was working on this PR here. I was working on my shelf component, and okay, so I did what I thought I should do, and then I was like, kind of, people revealed this PR. They said, okay, change this, change that. We started doing the things, and when people approved this, I said, okay, I'm going to try to merge it, but then WebOps comes here on my commit and starts like judging my PR. And the way that it does this is by using some automatic bots. So the first bot that it uses is this Cypress test. that does lots of tests. For instance, adding the product to cart, seeing if I can do the whole buying process. They also make some searches to see if the search is working okay, if I broke something and all. And so this is like a good quality analysis. And also we have like this Lighthouse bot. So if you come here on details, you guys can see that well, it runs Lighthouse on some of the web pages. So it runs on homepage, on a product page, and on a product listing page. And then, as you guys can see here, Lighthouse run, and it said like, oh, no, what you did here on this product listing page actually decreases the performance. So here you can have like a nice diff in performance, and saying that like, oh, you on this specific commit, you increase total blocking time by this much, which decreases the performance by 5 points, which is below our budget. So you should consider working a little bit more to improve the performance of this PR. And okay, but how do I ensure that the developer will actually follow this and won't like just merge this? So there is like a nice configuration on GitHub that you can do. That is like you can create a branch protection rule that kind of like requires Lighthouse and the build and integration tests and all to actually pass before you being able to merge. So this way we make sure that unwanted, that there isn't like a performance downgrade over time. So every time you start doing a new feature, you have the security that master is performing well, and then the next PR that you will do will perform well too, so you won't like decrease performance with time. So this is one of the ways that we kept the score green, the score good, and this is why you should consider using web apps. Okay, so this is how we incorporate performance on our development process. Okay, so let's come here. Okay, so but also another thing that you should consider doing is that performance is not something that you just merge and is performatic. It's not a feature that you can do and merge and now my store is fast. No, it's something that you build with time. And as you can, and to help you guys see what we're doing on our starter, we created this performance labels, so you guys can, if you guys want to see the performance things that we are working on base store, you guys can come here on pull requests and kind of like filter by performance, and then you guys can also get the closed PRs to see which performance PRs we did. So this is like a nice thing if you are interested in seeing. Otherwise, you can just like rebase and get the benefits of what we were working on. So this is like a nice thing to know. But okay, how do we have the idea that for instance, adding icons to a unique SVG file may improve the performance? So we use some tools for this, for guiding us. The first tool that I wanted to show you guys is that, like, if you come here to base, to the production, to the master of your store. Okay, so every store that is deployed on web apps, they will have the name of the repo, followed by .vtex.app. And if you come here and enter on this /bundlestats.html, what you will see is that you will see the stats of your bundle. What is it? What is these stats? So it basically says like the total bundle size, the total amount of JavaScript that you have. So in this case, we have 1 mega of JavaScript. This is not just zipped. So this is like a non-deflated state of your app. And okay, so and also it shows the initial amount of JavaScript. So if you want to see like, oh, I have this PR here, and I want to see like how did I change it, the size of my bundle. So what you can do is like you can come here on master, get the size of your bundle, and then come here on your preview and see like the bundle stats.html. Okay, so in here you can see that from master to the PR, we didn't really change the amount of JavaScript, so it should be okay. And also you have like more detailed info about what you're using. So like, oh, React done, we have like this amount of JavaScript that is being added. We have also we use this plugin, and this plugin adds this amount of JavaScript to our page. So you can like come here and try to see like, oh, which plugin can I try to remove, or which library can I try to lazy load to basically decrease this amount of initial JS size. That is the initial amount of JavaScript that your page needs to download in order to be interactive. And then you can like start to tackle the issues. And that was how we saw that we were using like a library for icons, and then we could like lazy load this and do some other optimizations. And that's where we get these ideas of like, and hints of like, if I do this, will I increase the performance or not? Okay, so this is one of the tools, bundle stats, that you can use. And another really nice tool that you can use is this bundle analyzer. So if you come here to your production domain and add like /bundle analyzer.html, we will have like a visual representation of this bundle stats. And it's really nice because in here you can you can see how much space each module is taking from your bundle, and which modules are being loaded in which chunks. So for instance, and here we know that like the product page has this unique JavaScript. This is the app JavaScript that is shared by the whole app. In here we can see like the amount of space React takes, and then you can start off like seeing like, oh, if I remove this Gatsby plugin next SEO, I can like reduce this much of bundle on the bundle size. I can kind of like, and then you start creating ideas or on where you can improve the performance. So and on the past few months, we've been doing this. So we come here, we analyze what we're importing, we check if we actually decrease the bundle size, we check if we decrease the initial JS size, and we do PRs that you guys can follow here. And we usually have a very descriptive analysis of what's happening on that specific PR, showing like how we improved blocking time or any other lighthouse metric. So it's pretty nice. Something is pretty nice to see and follow if you guys are interested. I didn't want to get much into the details of each one because each one is very specific. I wanted to show you guys like more of the tools that we're using, the way that we use, like the processes that we use to make sure this score is good. And I hope you guys, and if you are interested, you guys can go more in depth of what we are doing on this, using this performance tag on our on our starter, and as you guys can see, like we've been doing some good performance improvements from 6 to like 10 days ago, and that's why you guys should consider like upgrading to the latest version of FastStore, because like our scores are getting a little bit higher these days, and that's what I wanted to show you guys.
Awesome, awesome. That's great. I think like the very descriptive PR descriptions are like awesome, right? Because like they show like exactly what was going on, what's the motivation, what to read, how to understand what's actually happening, and yeah, like that's awesome. They help a lot. They help a lot. And another thing that I need that I mean I think it's always good to kind of reinforce to people is that the like performance is something that you have to maintain, right? It's just as you said, like it's not something that you ship and there you go. Now my store's fast. And then like if you don't, you're not gonna get stuck, right? Like you're gonna make changes and then the performance will drop and then you have to bring it back. So it's like it's kind of a state of mind, right?
Yeah, it's more like a process, and you really need to incorporate this process into your development process. Otherwise, like the technology is just one part on this really big equation of performance tuning.
Yes, exactly. Awesome. Let's see if we have any. Do you have any questions? Oh, there we go. That's a very important question.
Let me grab her. Luna.
Say hi to YouTube, Luna. Yeah, she stays behind my monitor here. She sleeps in there.
Yeah, and in some meetings, she tries to rip out the cable on your headset as well, right?
Yeah, that's why I'm using Bluetooth now.
Oh yeah, you're using Bluetooth.
Otherwise, it's
awesome. Oh, there you go. I need to add anything specific in my store repository to be able to use bundle stats and bundle analyzer.
Yeah, actually they are plugin for Gatsby, but since we have already added them on FastStore, if you are forking it now, so you should already have it. Otherwise, you can check out on FastStore to see how we include this. But it's actually pretty simple. You just need to Gatsby config, and then there is like this bundle stats plugin. Here you go. And then you have like this bundle analyzer. So Gatsby plugin, you just install it. And then you can like run it locally as well. You don't need to wait for the whole build process to finish. You can just like do it locally and see the changes by yourself.
Awesome. That's great. Okay. Oh yeah, warm space. Yeah. We have 2 plugins added inside the Gatsby config. Oh yeah, exactly what you showed. Yeah, awesome. That's great. Do you have any more questions? I think from the chat we don't. Okay, so that's it. Thanks a lot, Jimenez. Thanks for coming in such short notice. Thank you. Okay. Awesome. So that was the demo that we had for you today. And we also would like to extend a nice invite for all of you. That you can also come here and present, show your demo, show your go lives. I'm pretty sure there are some go lives going on or near to it. So like we would love for you to bring all of that and the new features that you're trying out, the things that I know that you guys are creating some things, like you have much more freedom now, right? So I don't know, like maybe want to use some different CSS framework from what we use, and like trying stuff out, and you just had to make something, then it worked. Awesome. Come here and show it to everyone. Okay. So there's the invite. It's like it's open for everyone. We would love to have you here. Just going to community.vtex.com/office hours beta and submit your demo there. Like tell us a bit like what you want to show, and there you go. Like this event is for the community, so this is open to you. Uh, I think I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this week like we had an awesome demo uh, in the in the Brazilian office hours. That's not specific to the FastStore, but like the for all of VTEX. We had an awesome demo from the community, and like it's always great for us to see you bringing stuff here. So feel free to submit your demo, and I hope to see like more people from the community presenting demos here. Okay. All right, awesome. I said we had another question that was like selected as well for us to answer, right? Uh, we invited someone from the CMS team to actually come here and like answer and explain things, but he had like kind of an emergency meeting and like he couldn't get out of, so he couldn't be here. But that's fine. Like I'm gonna read the question and then like give you pretty much the same answer that he would give you. Okay, so the question from Angepod was, why can't we publish a CMS headless page while working on a workspace? Yeah, that's pretty reasonable, right? While working on our workspace, we are unable to publish a page in the CMS. The publish button is grayed out. Yes, that's intentional. And because the page is stuck in a draft, we cannot query it in the code. We would like to create a page on our workspace, then query it into the day, test it, and only after testing, publish the page to master. Could you please explain why we cannot? Okay, awesome. So the explanation is pretty simple. It's we don't allow you to publish pages on dev workspaces because we're trying to prevent mistakes because the data is the same for production and development. Like we only have one data source, right? Like it doesn't work quite the same way as the site editor did, like back in if you were using the Star Framework one. Like there, like you could make a change, like you can make a change in a workspace, save it, and it would not affect production. But like it's not quite the same here. We have to be a bit more careful because the changes that you make here, like the data source is the same for both production and development. So that's why we don't allow you to publish content while in a workspace on a development workspace. Okay, that's trying to like prevent mistakes and accidental publishes. Okay, what you can do is you can create a production workspace and then use the CMS to publish your pages. But we do not recommend publishing them in development ones. Okay, so that's it. Like that's kind of why we're trying to avoid mistakes because yeah, because we don't have this separation just quite yet, like not in the same way as we had in the site editor. So it might be misleading that like you're gonna save something and think that it only applies there in the dev workspace, but it's not. Like it's gonna affect production as well. So that's why we're not allowing you to do that. Okay, so that's it. That's what I had. Awesome. Hope to have answered your question. I'm hearing here like from production that we have an extra question, and it's a question for Jimenez. Jimenez, are you still here?
Yeah.
Hey.
Okay.
Okay. Out of the performance improvements you made, which one resulted in the highest improvement? What was it about? Good question.
Oh. Yeah, good question. I have no idea which one took the best. Well, but there were quite a few. The one that was quite intriguing was the one with SVGs. So we used to use that a React library for icons on our store, and so we installed it. We installed it with npm, and then we imported this on our code. We imported the components, and we rendered the component. And okay, it was working well. But then we tried like a different approach. So the approach that we tried was to move all of the SVGs into a file and just import this these SVGs, sorry, using an image tag. These greatly reduced the amount of JavaScript, the blocking time, the actually it really it was surprising how much it helped. So this was one really big plus. One other change that we did was subsetting the font. So we were using a font file, and we started using like a technique that because like font files, they have like all of the glyphs. They have like Chinese things. They have crazy amount of characters. But your website usually uses Latin characters with some other extensions. And we use the tool that is free and open source to use that subsets this font, so it only includes the characters that you actually use on site. And this reduces a lot of the font size, and it really improved the performance. Another thing that we let me try to think of a really good one. Yeah, another thing that really improves the performance is making the React tree stable. So if your store opens on the user browser, it's usually good. It doesn't like re-render lots of the React tree. So the React tree stable renders only once, and this helps a lot on blocking time. Well, I think these are the three good ones.
Nice, awesome.
Yeah, I
Foi
didn't
incrível brasileiro. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't do it by alone. The whole team helped a lot. So we have lots of people doing it.
Awesome. Oh, this is a question like from within. What are some general principles you always follow when developing with performance in mind?
Yeah, this is like a good question. So the idea is that sometimes this is something that people usually forget, but the design of the site, it needs to take into account being fast, because like also many of the performance issues that we usually have is because of poor design. One example, so the way that we do the site is that we have the whole so our website is responsive, so it renders both on desktop devices as on mobile devices with the same HTML. So usually our components need to be responsible, they need to readapt to the size of the screen. But if your website like has two components, it usually happens with the header component. So yeah, the header component on desktop, like they have like this, they have lots of things, and then when it goes to mobile, the things that get reordered, they render totally different components. And to solve this issue, you usually have to render both versions of these components on the HTML, and then you need to create like lots of more extra components and more JavaScript. And so one principle people usually forget is that the design of the website needs to take into consideration that like the components need to be responsible, and you cannot like have vastly different versions on mobile and on desktop. So this is one thing that people usually forget. And the other principles is that you only merge into production PRs that are on the budget. So they are passing on Lighthouse, they are passing on the integration tests. If you add a new library, you can see like the impact of adding this library with these tools I've just showed you. And then from there on, you can kind of like decide if you're going to use that library or not. I think that these are the most these are the more general principles to follow.
Awesome, awesome. And you should also like be keeping an eye. You should also be keeping an eye on how much JS work you're doing in the main thread, right? Like always
Yeah.
checking that, like using the what's the name? Flame chart. Like the flame charts on the performance tab of Chrome as well, right? Like a lot of print screens of those going around.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, this is like a good advice as well. If you're usually you need to include third-party scripts like Google, what's the name? Google Analytics or Google Tag Manager,
Yeah.
and these scripts they really hurt performance. And one trick that we use something called Python that kind of like put these scripts running on another thread on the browser. So yeah, keeping an eye on the main thread is really important.
Awesome. Yeah, Python is pretty nice. So smart.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Okay, awesome. Let's see if we have any more things. A bunch of thanks. Thanks, you meant. I don't think we have any more questions. Okay, awesome. So that's it, I guess. Thanks, Jimenez.
Thanks, Miranda.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. So here's a reminder for everyone. If you want your question to be featured here in the Ask the Community section, please remember to add the office hours tag to your question in VTEX Community as you're creating it, like you can create it and then add the tag. It makes our life a whole lot easier because then this is where we usually filter for the office hours tag and then pick the questions that we should bring here. So please don't forget to do that. If you want your questions to be here. And that's it. Just reminding you again that you can submit your demos on community.vtex.com/office-hours-beta. We'd love to have more people from the community here in the office hours presenting in this final section, the demo. Okay, everything that you're working on is gonna be interesting, and people are gonna love it. Okay, awesome. So that's it, everyone. That's what we had for you this week. Hope you had a great week. Hope you have a great weekend. And don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and we'll see you next week. Okay? Bye.